From unearthed secrets to monumental engineering feats, embark on an epic expedition exploring the astonishing techniques and enigmatic origins behind the enthralling construction of the pyramids of Giza. Welcome to Structure Eng Hub, your one and only source into the world of engineering. The construction of the Great Pyramids of Giza is a fascinating subject. These pyramids were built as tombs for the pharaohs of ancient Egypt during the Old Kingdom period, specifically from around 2600 to 2500 BCE. The most famous pyramids at Giza were constructed for pharaohs Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure. The construction of the pyramids began with careful planning and design. Architects and engineers decided on the size, shape, and structure of each pyramid. The pyramids were built on the Giza Plateau, which is located on the western side of the Nile River near modern-day Cairo, Egypt. This location was chosen because it provided a strong foundation and a prominent position for the pharaoh's eternal resting place. Architects determined the dimensions and which direction each pyramid would face. For example, the Great Pyramid of Khufu had a base measuring approximately 230 meters, 756 feet, on each side and was aligned with the cardinal directions. The pyramids were built with great precision, showcasing impressive geometric proportions. The sides were almost perfectly aligned, creating a four-sided pyramid with triangular faces. The ratio of the perimeter to the height of the pyramid was close to the mathematical constant called pi. The pyramids were not just tombs but also carried symbolic meaning. They represented the pharaoh's divine power and their connection to the gods. The pyramid shape symbolized the ancient belief of a sacred mound emerging from chaotic waters, representing the pharaoh's journey to the heavens after death. Although we have some knowledge about the planning and design, many details are still unknown. The ancient Egyptians didn't leave comprehensive records of their construction techniques, so much of the knowledge was likely passed down through stories and practical experience. To build the pyramids, the ancient Egyptians quarried massive limestone blocks from nearby sources. The quarries were located close to the construction sites on the Giza Plateau. The Egyptians chose limestone quarries near the pyramids' construction sites. These quarries provided the necessary building materials, including the outer casing stones that gave the pyramids their smooth look. Limestone was the main material used for the pyramids. It was sourced from the quarries and used for both the core structure and the outer casing stones. The Egyptians used different methods to extract limestone blocks. They cut channels into the rock using stone tools, particularly copper chisels. Then, they inserted wooden wedges into the channels and soaked them with water. The expanding wedges created enough force to separate the blocks from the bedrock. Once the blocks were extracted, they needed to be transported to the construction site. The exact methods are not entirely known, but it is believed that sledges and ramps were used. Teams of workers likely pulled the blocks on sledges using ropes, possibly using water or oil to reduce friction. Ramps may have been constructed to move the blocks over uneven ground. During the quarrying process, the Egyptians often left marks on the blocks for identification and organization. These marks, made with hieroglyphic symbols or simple lines, indicated where the stones would be placed in the pyramid. They were typically found on the unfinished faces of the blocks. Some quarried stones that weren't suitable for the outer casing were reused within the pyramid's internal core. These stones were hidden from view once the outer casing was in place. Quarrying required many skilled workers and was a labor-intensive process. The specific techniques used by the ancient Egyptians are still being studied. Archaeologists and geologists are investigating the quarries and analyzing the remaining evidence to gain more insights into their methods. The ancient Egyptians moved the stones from the quarries to the construction site using various methods. While the exact transportation method is still debated, it likely involved sledges, ramps, and potentially boats along the Nile River. Large wooden sledges, possibly covered with animal skins, were used to transport limestone blocks. These sledges had runners or sliders to reduce friction and make it easier to move the heavy stones. A significant workforce, consisting of hundreds of workers, was needed to move the large stones. They pulled the sledges using ropes or similar tools, working together to navigate rough terrain and cover long distances. To make the movement of the sledges smoother, it is believed that the Egyptians used lubrication techniques. They may have poured water or oil on the ground in front of the sledges to reduce friction and help slide the blocks more easily. Temporary ramps were likely constructed alongside the pyramids to overcome elevation changes. These ramps allowed the workers to gradually raise the stones to higher levels as the construction progressed. The exact design and construction of these ramps are still a topic of discussion among scholars. In addition to overland transportation, some stones may have been transported by boats along the Nile River. The river provided an efficient means of moving heavy loads, and the proximity of the quarries to the river made this transportation method feasible. The pyramids were built using a technique called casing and coring. The inner core was made of rough stones, while the outer casing stones were precisely cut and fitted together. The inside of the pyramids was built with rough limestone blocks, roughly shaped and fitted to create a solid core. This core was constructed first, forming the foundation of the pyramid. The outer layer of the pyramids consisted of carefully cut and polished limestone blocks. These stones were shaped with great precision to fit tightly together, creating a smooth and seamless exterior. However, many pyramids have lost their original outer layer over time. Skilled craftsmen used copper chisels, stone tools, and pounding stones to shape the blocks. The ancient Egyptians had excellent knowledge of stone working techniques, allowing them to achieve precise cuts and shapes. The blocks were lifted and positioned in their designated locations within the pyramid. Ramps, sledges, and levers were likely used to move the blocks. Construction ramps were gradually built alongside the pyramid as it was constructed, allowing workers to move the blocks to higher levels. The Egyptians didn't use mortar in pyramid construction. Instead, they relied on the precise cutting and fitting of the stones to create a stable structure without mortar. The construction process required precise measurements and alignment. The angles of the sides were carefully set, resulting in 4 triangular faces meeting at a point. The sides were also aligned with the cardinal directions. These construction techniques demonstrate the advanced skills and knowledge of the ancient Egyptians in building the pyramids. The pyramids had various internal chambers and passages, including the burial chamber, corridors, and ventilation systems. The pyramids had an entrance on the northern side, usually at the base. This entrance led to the internal passages and chambers. From the entrance, a long, narrow passage sloped downwards, leading deep into the pyramid's core. It sometimes had corbelled ceilings and led to the next feature of the internal structure. Along the descending passage, there was a large chamber underground. Initially intended as the burial chamber, it was later abandoned in most pyramids and left unfinished. Along the descending passage, there was an ascending passage that led to the upper chambers. The ascending passage was steep and led to a grand gallery, a high-roofed passage with corbelled ceilings and slots for wooden beams. The king's chamber was a significant internal chamber near the center of the pyramid. It was accessed from the grand gallery and often made of large granite blocks. It housed the pharaoh's sarcophagus. Some pyramids had an additional chamber known as the queen's chamber. It was smaller and located higher up within the pyramid. Its purpose is uncertain and debated among scholars. The internal structure of the pyramids contained various chambers and passages, each with its own purpose and significance in the funerary complex of the pharaohs. Within the king's and queen's chambers, small shafts extended to the exterior of the pyramid. These shafts served ventilation purposes and may have had symbolic significance related to the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. Building the pyramids required a huge workforce consisting of tens of thousands of skilled workers. They included laborers, quarrymen, and artisans, many of whom were likely peasants who worked on the pyramids during the flood season when farming was limited. Skilled craftsmen played a vital role. They shaped stones, carved hieroglyphs, and created intricate details. They were experts in stonemasonry, sculpture, carpentry, and other trades. Many laborers performed physically demanding tasks. They quarried stones, transported materials, built ramps, and moved heavy blocks. They were organized into work gangs or teams. Officials and administrators supervised the workforce, ensured smooth operations, and maintained order at the construction site. Work crews had specific assignments, such as quarrying or construction. Overseers led the crews, ensuring productivity. The workforce included conscripted and voluntary workers. Some volunteered out of loyalty to the pharaoh and beliefs about the afterlife. Pyramid construction may have followed a seasonal pattern, utilizing labor during times when farming work was limited. Workers lived in temporary camps near the site, with basic shelters and communal areas. They endured challenging conditions and long hours of labor. Building the pyramids was a massive undertaking that required a vast and well-organized workforce. The ancient Egyptians displayed remarkable capabilities and resources in coordinating and managing such a project. Though the exact number of workers remains uncertain, ongoing research enhances our understanding of the workforce and construction methods employed in building the pyramids. The construction of the Great Pyramid of Khufu, the largest pyramid at Giza, is believed to have taken place during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. It is estimated that the construction of the pyramid itself may have taken around 20 to 30 years, with the timeframe estimated to be around 2580–2560 BCE. The Pyramid of Khafra, the second largest pyramid at Giza, is thought to have been built by Pharaoh Khafra. It is estimated that the construction of Khafra's pyramid started around 2558 BCE and possibly took about 10 to 20 years to complete. The Pyramid of Menkora, the smallest of the three main pyramids at Giza, is attributed to Pharaoh Menkora. Its construction is estimated to have begun around 2532 BCE and may have taken around 10 to 15 years to finish. It's important to note that these estimates are based on available historical and archaeological evidence, including inscriptions, artifacts, and architectural analysis. The construction of the pyramids likely involved different phases, with various stages of planning, quarrying, construction, and finishing taking place over an extended period. Despite the ancient Egyptians' remarkable engineering skills, the exact techniques used to construct the pyramids are not fully understood. The construction process remains a subject of ongoing research and study, with various theories and hypotheses proposed over the years. In conclusion, the construction of the Great Pyramids of Giza was a remarkable achievement of ancient Egyptian civilization. The planning, design, and construction techniques employed in building these monumental structures demonstrate the advanced engineering and architectural skills of the ancient Egyptians. The pyramids were built using a combination of skilled craftsmanship, precision stone cutting, and careful block placement. The workforce involved in their construction consisted of skilled craftsmen, laborers, and overseers who worked together in an organized manner. The scale of the workforce and the complexity of the construction process highlight the impressive organizational abilities of the ancient Egyptians. The internal structure of the pyramids comprised chambers, passages, and shafts that served various purposes, including housing the pharaoh's sarcophagus, providing ventilation, and possibly incorporating religious and symbolic elements. While some aspects of the internal structure remain a subject of debate, ongoing research and technological advancements continue to shed light on their design and purpose. The construction of the pyramids spanned several decades, with each pyramid having its own estimated timeframe. While the exact construction timeline is still a topic of discussion, the building of these massive structures required a significant investment of time, resources, and manpower. The Great Pyramids of Giza stand as enduring testaments to the ingenuity, skill, and dedication of the ancient Egyptians. They continue to captivate the imagination of people worldwide and serve as iconic symbols of ancient Egypt's grandeur and architectural prowess.